G'day guys, I just want to do a really quick tips and tricks video that may help you survive in striving for light survival. First things first, and I think the most important thing, highlighted cursor. This is what it looks like when it's not highlighted. What it looks like when it is highlighted. Very much needed for our next, which is manual aim. This is not enabled by default. You need to enable this. This is absolutely required to survive the later maps. Not being able to aim and just having it autocast is not going to save you when you need to prioritize a target to stop it from killing you. Other things are kind of like up to you, but I do suggest picking the highlighted enemies and highlighted enemy projectiles. What that does is it'll put a red outline around the enemy and their projectiles so you can see them more prominently, and this is very important when things start to get hectic with projectiles flying everywhere. You can tell which one are yours, which one are theirs. Everything else is kind of up to you on that one. Now, when it comes to creating your character and surviving, stick to one thing. You're going to want to stick to one kind of theme. For example, this build is a explosive ranged theme. So we have explosive ranged perks equipped that complement each other, especially the fragmentation, which is a big one, which also will trigger the explosions and itself when enemies are killed. Choosing your weapon is also very important. Now, because this is a purely ranged thing, it doesn't matter too much what melee weapon you choose, because you're not going to be getting procs off your melee weapon. Not very often, at least. There is a staff that you can get that shoots projectiles, basically turning it into a ranged weapon. But as far as I know, it still scales off melee, which could be a cool thing to build a build around, but kind of not needed when you are going purely ranged. So I've chosen to go with the movement speed effect. Everything else is not really that important to me. I just want to be able to get around faster. There are other special effects like less movement speed, but you get more critical, or increase your collection range, increase your critical damage, increase how many projectiles you have. This one might be a good option for a projectile as well. I'm not using that one. And you get the gist. You need to make sure that what you're going for... Actually, I'm going to switch to it now. I think I'm going to prioritize... that'll decrease my survival though. Nope, we'll stick with that. Anyway, over on the ranged weapon side is exactly the same case. Each of them has special modifiers. So this one, for example, projectiles hit creates 2 replicating projectiles which target nearby enemies. This is amazing for earlier on when you don't have all these perks unlocked. You want to look for things that will take the place of a perk or a passive. That is what you want to focus on. Now, the next tip I have is focus. Do not forget attack speed and grab it whenever you can. The reason I say this, because almost every one of the good attacks minuses your attack speed. And what happens is you start attacking like maybe once every 2 seconds, once every 3 seconds, to the point where you're not attacking enough to deal enough damage to kill what's coming at you, and you just die. You're basically nerfing yourself by trying to get more power. That is why speed is so important. Think of it like a currency of the game. Every time you purchase one of these, you're going to want to purchase, say, 2 speed nodes to compensate for that minus 30 attack speed. You're going to want to constantly balance your attack speed. Now, when it comes to unlocking things, I would highly suggest just using the beach. Yes, it's easy, but that's kind of the point. When it comes to items that only require you, for example, this one, the gnarly mace, you need to complete wave 20 with the ripping axe, and the ripping axe is a defeat endless boss in the void on map tier 3 or higher. Now obviously that is map specific, but this one's not. You don't have to like push yourself to do a hard map to unlock this one. You don't have to at all. Just do the lowest tier map, whatever you find enjoyable, and unlock it that way. They are not set to required maps. When it comes to characters, each character falls in its own category. For example, this one is very much a AoE melee? He's got a bit of a mixed bag, but he's also very, very hard to play because of his many minuses, and but he gets boosters to AoE. So skills like swirl, for example, which makes your projectiles swirl around you in like a defensive wall, would be highly beneficial for a character like this. You got to look at this kind of stuff. When you have a character like Helga, she is all about that projectiles. So having anything in the melee whatsoever is completely pointless with her. Completely pointless. It's all about buffing those projectiles. Same with each one of these characters. Now, some of these characters require you to beat a certain thing with the prior unlocked character. For example, the Dark Wanderer requires us to defeat end boss on wave 20 on any map in difficulty tier 3 with Durakin. Similar to this one, where you require the Dark Wanderer and you require the Farmer. So you gotta pay attention to what each thing requires so you can unlock. It's not always about pushing yourself to the top map and then just keep pushing. No. You want to focus on different tiers of the lower tier maps. You want to focus on, say, the lowest tier of the beach map to unlock certain items. The more items you have unlocked, the more build possibilities you have, and the more chance you're going to find a build that you really resonate with and you can absolutely dominate the rest of the game with. So those are my tips and tricks for the game, striving for light survival. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.